welcome to Lily's Library. So today we are going to be doing a bookshelf tour. So I have got 6 bookshelves to go through. They're kind of scattered around our apartment because we have a pretty small space, but I think I've done a pretty decent job of making the most of it and fitting in all of the books. I've got like a few other places I keep books besides these shelves. There's like a little stool that I use for like some priority reads and some books that I just need to put away. And then I've also got like a trolley in my bedroom that has got other stuff there that I keep some other books on top of. So let's get straight on into it because we've got a lot of bookshelves to get through.
Okay, so we're going to start with the bookshelves behind me. So the first one is mostly my fantasy and sci-fi, and then to the left of that is my TBR specific shelf. So up the top, we've got Butter by Asako Yuzuki, Sally Rooney's Intermezzo, Pomegranate by Helen Elaine Lee, Julia Armfield's Private Rights, Our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill, and The Healing Season of Pottery by Yon So-min. In front of those, we've got 2 little Smiskies, and then my Monchichi sits in the corner. And behind that all is my Illumicrate book pot. Going down a shelf, and we've got my Hirano and also some little photos that I like to keep there of friends. Then we've got the Whispering Dark, Song of Silver Flame like Night, Fathom Folk, Goddess of the River, Mistress of Lies, and Witch King by Martha Wells. Down the very bottom shelf, we have got a TBR jar, and then my personal penguin box. We've got the City of Brass, Normal People, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, The Fraud, In Memoriam, The Mountains Sing, and then Hamnet. The top of this shelf, we've got sci-fi. You can see my Locked Tomb collection there, so Gideon the Ninth, Harrow the Ninth, Nona the Ninth, all by Tamsin Muir. I also have a Illumicrate mug of Gideon and Harrow. Next, I have the entire Broken Earth trilogy, starting with the 5th season, The Obelisk Gate, and The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. Then we have got Winter's Orbit. This is by Everina Maxwell. This is How You Lose the Time War. Fugitive Telemetry and System Collapse, 2 of the Murderbot books, and then the Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy from 2023. Going down this stack now, up the top we've got Orbital by Samantha Harvey, then A Desolation Called Peace and A Memory Called Empire by Katie Martine, Lord Fowl's Bane by Stephen Donaldson, August Kitco and the Mechas from Space by Alex White, Authority and Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman, Andy Weir's The Martian, and then Dune and Dune Messiah, both by Frank Herbert. Moving across, we've got Leech by Heron Ends, another Andy Weir with Project Hail Mary, Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh, and The Principle of Moments by Esme Jacemi Pearson. I also have another Smiski here and this really cute Tamagotchi pot that I got from a Perth-based artist, The Forest Mori. Next, we have got one of my favorite shelves. So starting in the corner, we've got 2 copies of Yellowface, one which is signed and personalized. I've got 2 copies of Babel as well, the UK hardback, and then also the Fairy Loot hardback. Next to that is Blood Over Bridehaven by M.L. Wong, and then going down the stack we've got The Sword of Kaigan, also by M.L. Wong, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and the Poppy War trilogy. After that we have got my signed trade paperback of A Day in Fallen Night, and then the broken binding editions of The Roots of Chaos, 2 of the books that are currently out. And then finally we have got my little Robin Hobb collection with a little US mass market paperback of Assassin's Apprentice hidden behind that. Next to that, we've also got a little castle my dad got when he was on holiday, a Illumicrate mug from Priory of the Orange Tree, and then also my little Dwecky plushie because I don't know where to put him. The next shelf is a mismatch of fantasy and some other stuff. We have got He Who Drowned the World and She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, The Final Strife and the Battle Drum by Sarah El Arifi, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and The Adventures of Mina El Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Moving across, we've got The Will of the Many by James Islington, Hannah Lee's Road to Ruin, Spear by Nicola Griffith, Upright Woman Wanted by Sarah Gailey, The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Nevo, The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, Julia Armfield's Our Wives Under the Sea, What Moves the Dead, What Feasts at Night, Thornhedge, and Bryony and Roses, all by T. Kingfisher, and The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Going down the stack, we've also got A Sorceress Comes to Call, Nettle and Bone, The Twisted Ones, and A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, The Oleander Sword by Tasha Suri, and then we've got The Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee. So this tall and skinny shelf is kind of off to the side next to our couch because it's the only spot it fits, but my first shelf is kind of mostly cozy fantasy. We've got Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry and Legends and Lattes as well, then Can't Spell Treason Without Tea and Pirate's Life for Tea. These are both by Rebecca Thorne. Also by Rebecca Thorne, This Gilded Abyss and The Day Death Stopped. And then finally, The Misadventures of an Amateur Naturalist by Kaiwen Langley. Moving down, this is my mostly horror shelf. We have got The Reformatory, Interview with a Vampire, The Only Good Indians, and My Heart is a Chainsaw, Bloom, The Salt Grows Heavy, Bad Creek, Briar Dark, Chlorine, Rouge, and We Used to Live Here. We've also got Jurassic Park, Monstrilio, Joys, and Ship of Theseus or S. Moving down, this is like my dark academia and some vampire bookshelf as well. So we've got Starling House, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, A Dowry of Blood, Immortal Dark, In These Hallowed Halls, Piranesi, Bunny, 2 copies of If We Were Villains, one which is a anniversary hardcover that's signed, and The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I also have a puzzle from Illumicrate, which is an If We Were Villains one. My next shelf is just A.K. Mulford and Ava Reid. So we've got the High Mountain Court, She's a Keeper, Easy Tiger, Party Animal, and then Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist, all by Ali K. Mulford, plus K.L. Morrison. The Ava Reid, we've got Juniper and Thorn, 2 editions of A Study in Drowning, one being the Illumicrate, my arc of Lady Macbeth, and my new arc of Fable for the End of the World, which is Ava Reid's newest book. This is my Lord of the Rings shelf and Tolkien shelf. So we've got me and my partner's editions of The Hobbit, then some bind-ups of Lord of the Rings, and some 2 old editions I found of The Fellowship of the Ring and The Return of the King, and then the Dictionary of Tolkien. Next up, we have got my non-fiction shelf and also some like witchy books up the top. So we've got that one, The Courage to be Disliked, I'm Glad My Mum Died, Different Not Less, Big Meg, Kinky History, Page Boy, Me, Her, Us, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, When Breath Becomes Air. We've got also a collection of different stories in an anthology from Australian and New Zealand writers. We've got My Body, Know My Name by Chanel Miller, Without You There Is No Us, Unmasking Autism, The 100 Years War on Palestine, Abolition, Feminism Now, this is by multiple different writers, and also Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe is usually on the shelf. Moving across, we have got my CD and like music shelf, so we've got CD and vinyls and stuff here. I've also got my Heartstopper collection. We've got the Penguin Book of Feminist Writing, Carmilla, Fanny Hill, Herman Hesse's Damien, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, one of 2 copies, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories from Washington Irving, The Scarlet Letter, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Twelfth Night, The Tempest, and Hamlet, all by William Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde's Picture of Dorian Gray, Don Quixote, and A Tale of Two Cities. Moving down a shelf, and we've got a kind of mishmash of things here, plus some poetry with some of Ocean Vuong's collections there. We've got Time is a Mother and Night Sky with Exit Wounds. Then we've got Japanese death poems, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Northanger Abbey and Emma, 1984 and Jane Eyre. In this corner, we've got some more Shakespeare and some other stuff. We've got a copy of Macbeth and King Lear, and then also A Clockwork Orange. Moving on, there's my second copy of Wuthering Heights and Jane Austen's Lady Susan, Rebecca, Dracula, Giovanni's Room, one of my copies of Pride and Prejudice, The Haunting of Hill House, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Picnic at Hanging Rock, Lord of the Flies, Mistletoe and Malice, and Little Women. So this little stool is kind of a new addition. It's for some books that I need to put away. We've got like a copy of Yotsuboto and also the Jasmine Throne and the Wheel of Time. Then up the top is some of my library books and books I currently have out and want to read. So we've got The Shadow of the Gods, we've got Shane Lend, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, Parable of the Sower, Chain Gang All Stars, and Unhallowed Halls. Now, these are the final 2 shelves that we have. You can see at the top, it's kind of like a mishmash of stuff. We've got my partner's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition, Monster X Lightstick, a Final Fantasy book, and also the Song of Ice and Fire. We've also got my K-pop shelf underneath with like TXT and my Stray Kids collection. Going down is romance, Australian fiction, and romantasy, and some other overflow. So starting up the top, we've got Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, and Delilah Green Doesn't Care, A Lady for a Duke, Bride, and The Love Hypothesis, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown, The Kiss Quotient, and Beach Read. Moving across, we've got Love Unleashed by Melanie Saywood, At the Foot of the Cherry Tree by Ali Parker, Tell Me How It Ends, The Place We Were Made, and The Gossip Project, all by Lauren Jones. Amber Wolf by Lauren Searson Patrick, These Shadows Become Her by Demi Clarissa, and Rise of the Witches by M.L. Jewell. Down this stack, we've got mostly cozy and some other stuff. We've got The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, Half a Soul, and House Moving Castle, Then we've got my C.C. Davey collection with The Pendragon Witch, The Lycal Rising, The Shadow of Wings, and The Heir of Basilica. Then we've got A Broken Blade and A Shadow Crown by Melissa Blair, Feybound by Sarah El Arifi, and A Marvelous Light by Freya Mask. For my overflow, we've got Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long, Good Omens, which I recommend checking out the Vulture article on Neil Gaiman, if you're wondering why the name is covered. We've got Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao and Hammerjin Luck. This is by Makana Yamamoto. This next shelf is a mix of some fantasy, some Greek mythology, some historical fiction, and translated fiction. It's kind of a mishmash of everything. So in the corner, we've got Voyage of the Damned, Tress of the Emerald Sea, Board Gay Werewolf, Year of the Reaper, The Song of Achilles, and No Season But the Summer. Down my little stack of books here, we've got Breasts and Eggs, The Synthesizer, Convenience Store Woman, The Memory Police, Ocean Vyong's On Earth Were Briefly Gorgeous, Kaori Fujino's Nail and Eyes, Winter in Soksho, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, The Cat Who Saved Books, Kim Ji-young, born 1982, I Who Have Never Known Men, Small Things Like These, Open Water, Sold Houses, and Call Me By Your Name. Then we've got A Dolphin Called Jack, Lauren Chatter's Gulliver's Wife, Beasts of a Little Land, Safe Haven by Shankari Chandran, and Minor Detail by Adania Shibli. Two books I highly recommend. Safe Haven is about immigration detention and Australia's border security forces and their rules, and Minor Detail is about Israel's occupation of Gaza and Palestine and how history is repeating itself. We've got Earthlings and Life Ceremony, both by Sayaka Murata, Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, Blue Hunger by Viola de Grado, Greek Lessons and the Vegetarian by Hung Kung, Pachinko by Minjin Lee, Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh, and When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. Next up, we have got my YA, which is kind of very full. We've got The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Then we've got Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. We've got two of Andrew Joseph White's books with The Spirit Bears Its Teeth and Hella Followed With Us. Then we've got The Sunbearer Trials and The Cemetery Boys, both by Aidan Thomas. The Ones We're Meant to Find, Strike the Zither and Sound the Gong, all by Joan He. A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King and Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. My illustrated edition of The Hunger Games, and then my Hunger Games box set by Suzanne Collins. And also Most Ardently, this is a Pride and Prejudice remix. Going down the shelf, we've got We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal, The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School by Sonora Reyes, Raybearer and Redemptor by Jordan Afuego, and my paperbacks of the Six of Crows duology. We've got Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, Scythe by Neil Schusterman, and Looking for Alaska and The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Next, we've got Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar, The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar, House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, and She is a Haunting by Tran Fan Tran, Pet by Akweke Emezi, The Edge of the Woods by Kindwin Langley. Then we've got The Raven Cycle with The Raven Boys, Dream Thieves, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and The Raven King, all by Maggie Stiefvater. Iron Widow by Jiren J. Zhao, my paperback editions of Legendborn and Bloodmarked, As Good as Dead and Killjoy by Holly Jackson, and my Owlcrate editions of Legendborn, Henry Hamlet's Heart, The Night Circus, All My Rage, and Euphoria Kids, and then a little Mojo Jojo pop figure. Now this is the final shelf. Up the top it's also storage for stuff. We've got like a D&D thing and some game books, my Infernal Devices trilogy as well. These next two shelves are also my partner's books with some like little Pokeballs that have Pokemon inside. This shelf has got like a bunch of his Realm of the Elderlings books, some manga, Junji Ito, Christopher Paolini, and then another stack of other books. And then this next one is my V.E. Schwab Shrine. So in the corner we've got the comic book series that's like the prequel to the Shades of Magic trilogy, a little art card of Lila, which is actually from a card game, one of the Owlcrate book tins, my hardcover editions of the Shades of Magic trilogy, and then my original paperback, Vampires Never Get Old, and then also the Shades of Magic book tins. We've got The Fragile Threads of Power, we've got my paperback of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and my hardcover, The Archived and the Unbound, Vicious and Vengeful, The Near Witch, and then in the corner is two editions of Gallant. We've got a paperback and the Owlcrate edition. And this next shelf is a very weird mishmash as well. We've got my partner's editions of Berserk, like those black editions, some of Emily Rodda's books with the Del Toro Quest books and the Key to Rondo trilogy, some Percy Jackson books, and a volume of Full Metal Alchemist because I still need to collect more. Then in this corner we have got my graphic novels. We've got Garlic and the Witch and Garlic and the Vampire, Fangs, The Magic Fish, Project Naught, Nimona, Dungeon Critters, Grand Slam Romance,
Coraline, which actually kind of sucks, Squire, and Powerborn of Dreams, which are very important reads. Feelings, When I Arrived at the Castle, Crema, and Flick. Flick is actually based on a true story and has to do with the French police, which I found really interesting. This next shelf is a mess. It is just manga and some pins from Haiku and a whole collection of stuff that both me and my partner have with a bunch of figures, but it's kind of like everything all smushed together. I think there's some comics in the corner there that you should be able to see. So this little trolley is kind of like some overflow books and books that I was in the process of reading. So we've got Comes the Night by Isabel Carmody, The Extinction of Irina Ray by Jennifer Croft, Unholy Terrors, Good Girl, Bad Blood, Cute, The Sonnets by Shakespeare, Curse of the Dragon Shadow, and finally The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But that is it for this bookshelf tour. I have a feeling we will have a new bookshelf tour sometime in the near future because I'm currently working on something and planning on something, but I don't want to say too much in case I jinx it. So we'll see what happens. But this is it for now. I'm very happy with this setup. I wish I did have a bit more space. I think I could organize some things a bit better and fit in a few more books, but it is just hard with the limited areas that we do have here for storage. So some of the shelves are taken up for other things. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all with a new video next time. Bye.